a difference in our community. And when I say our community, I'm just not talking about GBLTQ persons, even though it was his father whose first name is up on the center of Austin in terms of funding. This man, he comes from a long tradition of understanding the importance of giving back. As a graduate of Chicago State, I've seen his stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, he's only going to say a little. Illinois State Senator Emil Jones. He's been inclusive since day one.
Help me up. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. And I came out to say thank you to all of you all. The vote for me was easy, even though I have been threatened. People to run against me. Phone calls to my home, my cell phone, emails, all type of threatening stuff. But the vote was easy because it was doing the right thing, support equality. But I want to thank you all. You all did the hard work, knocking on doors, talking to your friends, talking to my constituents. It was you all working together. Now, when I first got into office, I told a lot of my organizations, your voices are not going to be heard in Springfield unless you work together, band together. These were agencies that worked on youth violence prevention. So now I'm happy to see the LGBT working together. All these organizations coming together to get your voices heard in Springfield. Even though you all never did come live to me, because I guess you already knew how I was voting on the legislation. But I want to send a big shout out to Michael. He has really stayed in contact with me over the years, updating me on the issues, inviting me out tonight, and just told me what was going on in the LGBT community. But again, this is just the beginning. There are many, many, many other issues that we all need to work on together. So I thank you for your support, and I look forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Stage next time. It's kind of high. We need to talk. Now, the next person I'd like to introduce is a trained activist. I'm not talking about somebody that says, oh, we tried all of the stuff. Come on, let's get some posters. I'm talking about somebody who has learned through one of the best groups in the nation, Midwest Training Academy. Individuals who know anything about professional hell raisers know about this group. So I was pleasantly surprised when after Kim and I and a bunch of us were at the table when Bill, Greg couldn't call it, that they called in some real organizers in terms of the Illinois Marriage United Coalition. We had them before. Johnny them was good, but when I hear Midwest Training, Heather Booth, Jackie Crenshaw, these people are legendary. And this guy comes with that diploma. I think it's an 8-week or 8-12 class, I forgot. But that tells me we got something right going on. So just to make sure that I don't Wade's making me move it quickly, let me introduce Keron Blair. Come on up here.
Let me get my timer out. I've been given 3 minutes. Good evening. Good evening. So, it takes. I was in Boston a week ago, and I had the privilege of, I was training some young folks who were trying to do some work next year around Freedom Summer. And during the middle of the training, they started to do all these chants about freedom and justice, and it dawned on me a week after we had won what exactly we were able to accomplish in Illinois. And in the middle of that, I sort of broke down and I started to cry, because I was like, together, and we ought to really acknowledge that, together we changed the course of history. And it is not often, it is not often that we get to say that. And so, when I was brought on as the field director, John Colehep, our campaign manager, asked me to build a field program that the representatives we were targeting would literally be afraid of. And that is what we did. And over 3 months, we made 50,000 unique contacts to representatives. We organized phone banks all across the state. In 1 week, we had about 45 phone banks up and running. We had hundreds of people volunteering. We had people knocking on doors. And then we had people meeting with their representatives to let them know that folks were serious about marriage equality. And one of the most prominent meetings, I remember a meeting with David Harris where we had this older, white, conservative woman. When David Harris talked about tradition, we had this woman say to him, she said, in this country, slavery was a tradition. And we had the courage to move beyond that. And so the work that we did was literally about making sure that in 20, 30 years, that's what people will say about not only our state, but about our country, that we got it right. And that the people in this room were a part of that. And I want to acknowledge, so the coalition was made up of a number of groups. We had, the chair of the coalition was Jim Bennett from Land Legal. Our campaign manager was John Colehep, who was on leave from AFSCME. We had the Civil Rights Agenda, the Human Rights Campaign, ACLU, the Chicago Urban League, Citizen Action Illinois, Land Legal, Equality Illinois, and Freedom to Marry. And those 8 groups came together to build what became Illinois Unites for Marriage. We hired in 7 days 20 field organizers, and we shipped them out across the state to work in 38 districts for 4 months. And tonight there are a few of them. Robert Schultz is here, one of the organizers who work on the South Side. Damon Hainline is here, one of my deputy field directors. Damon is a data manager, a god among data managers. He handled all of our data, and there was a lot of data. I want to acknowledge Benjamin, who led our faith outreach and did a tremendous job of engaging people. When we realized that we needed some extra muscle to move our Southside program, we brought in William McNary and Jay Minor, and they ran our canvas team, and they knocked on doors in every corner of the South Side of Chicago. Folks held them up with guns, but they kept knocking on doors to make sure that these reps knew that people all across the state were in support of marriage. And so I am so incredibly proud of the work that we did, and for every person who volunteered, that took time out of their day to volunteer, I want to thank you. There is a narrative being spun that, and I love our reps and I respect them, but they simply did not turn over and do the right thing. They were made to do the right thing. And what we did in this campaign, we operationalized democracy, and we ensured that our voices were heard, and we made legitimate threats. And we said, if you do not vote for this, there will be consequences. And it was those consequences that moved these reps to do the right thing. We cannot abandon the democratic process. And so if anything, that's what he taught me. Chris Percy, I want to give a shout out to you and OFA for your tremendous work. It was amazing. So again, thank you. Thank you for all the work you did. And friends, together we change history. Give yourselves a round of applause.